And good evening, everybody. It must be Monday because it's time for We Got Next. I'm Rickey Hampton, along with former Milwaukee Bucks center Paul Mokeski, coming to you on a Monday evening. Uh, this is the pregame. This is the pregame show to watch before Game 4 of the Lakers Nuggets tonight. Big Mo,
That's
how
right.
you doing, sir?
I'm great. Just very disappointed in both the East and West finals. It's just really a letdown from what we thought was going to happen. And we both talked about this. I like Game Sevens, and there's not going to be a Game Seven in any of these.
No. Let's hope it's a Game 5. And I wonder what the odds will be in Vegas on uh, the Nuggets and Heat going up 3-0 in a series. I wonder what kind of odds you could have got on that.
If you pick the Heat to go to the NBA Finals, it's probably 100 to 1. I would think. I mean,
Damn.
before the playoffs, maybe even more. Maybe more. And Denver's had the best record in the West for the whole
Yeah.
season, so that's not supposed to be a surprise. And let's not forget that the Lakers had to do a play-in to get in the
Yeah.
playoffs anyway. So did Miami. So it's been a weird year all around.
But one thing you talked about as we went into these playoffs that the seeds really didn't mean much because you got an 8 seed and a 7 seed playing in the East and West finals respectively.
Well, the Warriors were a 7 seed, right, or 6 or 8 or whatever they were
The
too.
Warriors were a 6 seed, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the seeding was weird because there's some great teams that had bad seasons. The Warriors and the Miami Heat, they had bad seasons, and the Lakers had a terrible season until they made the trade, and then they were like 29-4 or 6 or something, just to make the playoffs. Remember, there's about a month left in the season, and they were in the 11th spot. The Lakers were, so um, it's interesting that people are surprised, me too, to some extent, that the Lakers are down 3-0. But really, when you think about it, they should be down 3-0.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you look at those teams, and we're going to get into it more, but the Nuggets are the far superior team uh, in this matchup. But let's start out east because last night was really disappointing. I thought we would get a great effort from the Celtics going into that game down 2-0. Desperation. They did not play like a desperate team. Mo.
They played like they were ahead 2-0, or they didn't play like they're trying to get back in the series. And you know, let's be frank. I mean, Mazzulla, who's the coach of Boston, who took over from Udoka, at the beginning of the season in that bad situation, has done a great job. I mean, he's gone 42-17, I believe, and but he's young. He's only 34 years old, and there's talk of how he even said it in a press conference, which he should have never said that. He said, "It's on me. I didn't have them ready to play." What, really? You have a team of veterans that have been there before. They've been to the finals. They know what they're doing, and you didn't prepare them right. I mean, if you had bad schemes or didn't make adjustments or things like that, or substitution pattern, that's one thing. But they need to be prepared to play themselves. Hell, it's game number. You're getting ready to go down 0-3, or you could have climbed back in this thing. So to me, there's deep problems there, and I don't know if he saves his job after this fiasco. And it seems like the team has tuned them out, and they're disgruntled, and you know, uh, you know, Tatum's played well, but Jaylen Brown has been up and down, and he's talking about leaving. And man, what a different situation than it was about a month ago. when, or 3 weeks ago when Miami had eliminated the Bucks, and now it looked like the Celtics had a clean shot right to the NBA Finals. You know, they had to come through Philly, but man, the times have changed. They changed fast.
And welcome to our viewers out there. Hey, Chris, um, and all our other viewers out there. Remember, you can get this show and all our past shows on theleague.com, where you find your favorite uh, podcast. That's DLEAV.com. How about a Heat sweep and the Nuggets? And we're gonna get to the Nuggets first. So how about a Heat sweep, Mo? How do you see that? And
Uh,
and what is Missoula saying to these guys before Game 4 tomorrow?
what is there to say? What's there to say? I mean, we've dug ourselves in a hole. We can get out of it. We got to get out of it one possession at a time, one quarter at a time, one game at a time. You know, it's going to take patience and toughness. But really, are they even listening anymore? And you know, when you look at the Miami roster, right? And we had talked about that before. They had a good roster before the season started. They just didn't perform well during the season. But you know, you look at Butler, who actually look at the series. The last couple of series, Butler's averaged 30 plus points a game. In this series, he's averaging 26. Only for him, only 26. And 7 rebounds and 6 assists. You got a guy, Caleb Martin, who no one even thought about. Was the 8th or ninth guy in a rotation, and he's averaging 19 points a game in this series and 32 minutes a game. He's lighting it up. Bam Adebayo is playing really good. Not only is he scoring at 18 points, but he's rebounding at 9. He also is averaging 5 assists a game. That's huge from his position. Then you got Gabe Vincent, you know, who knows who that is. He's averaging 18 points a game. Duncan Robinson took over for Tyler Hero and stepped up. And now Duncan Robinson's averaging 12 points a game in only 17 minutes a game. That's phenomenal numbers. And then Lowry's pitching in, Love's pitching in the Strus. So, you know, Butler's doing his thing, but not what Butler's been doing, you know. And they're just dominating. They dominated last game. The other 2 games were closer. And you look at the Boston roster. Okay, Tatum, he's averaging 26, 10, and 4. That's not great numbers for Tatum on 39 minutes a game. You know, but look at Jaylen Brown. He's only averaging 17 points a game. And that's really low for him in 35 minutes. And you got Brogdon, who stepped up a little bit. Williams is averaging 12 points and 6 rebounds, and he's only playing 20 minutes a game. Why is that? And, you know, the other guys, Horford's, you know, defensive guys, averaging 6 and 4. But overall, the I would say secondary players for the Miami Heat have stepped up way bigger than the Boston Celtics secondary players and Jaylen Brown.
Hey, Mo, you mentioned Robert Williams. Seems like we would let him lead into some of Horford's numbers. He has shot the ball terribly. I mean, he looks like a 36-year-old center out there trying to deal with Bam's quickness and athleticism.
Yeah, my opinion, you know, I'm not in the coach's room, but what I feel is this is the inexperience and youth of a first-time head coach in Missoula who didn't make an adjustment. So let's face it, Horford was a big reason they got by Philly. He guarded Embiid as good as anybody's guarded Embiid. But now you got to think that's over, and we're moving on to another series, and he's just not performing like he was. You got to go ahead and give Williams his minutes. But, you know, an inexperienced coach might think, well, Horford's a veteran and he's going to help us. And, you know, that's what happens in those situations. And you look at, in both situations, right, the veteran coaches on both series have the other young coaches. Darvin Ham's a first-year coach, even though he's 49. And Missoula's the first-year coach, and he's young at 34. They've never been in this situation before in the playoffs, let alone in the NBA Finals, which is huge, huge, huge. And, you know, they're both down 0-3. So, coaching does matter. Talent go along with it, and I think the inability for Celtics to make that change and say, okay, listen, Horford, you did great for us and got us past Philly, but now we got to let Williams have good minutes, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and Mo, you've been in that league chair at the professional level. It's a big jump from that second seat to that first seat.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 18 inches or whatever, but it's miles and miles because now you're making decisions. Everything relies on you. When you're assistant coach, you have responsibilities and make great suggestions, but they're suggestions. When you're the head coach, you make decisions, and that's the difference. Assistant coaches give suggestions, and head coaches make decisions, and a lot relies on those decisions, and a lot relies on your experience. You got to trust your assistant coaches and guys that have been there and all that, but in the bottom line, it's down to you, and you make that decision. And it goes with how hard are we going to practice? When are we going to travel? Are we going to go there a day early or stay and go a little bit later? And then it goes to okay, what are we going to do as preparation? Are we going to play some zone? Are we going to double team Butler? Are we going to double team Tatum? Are we going to do rotations? Who's going to guard who? And then it comes down to in a game, okay, this didn't work. I got to make a decision. Do I sub Williams for Tatum, even though Tatum helped us in Philly? Who's in foul trouble? Who I have to sit? Do I contest this call now? All those decisions start piling on you, and it's your decision, and it's a big move. And I don't care how much experience you have as an assistant coach, as a former player. When you move over to that chair and you're the head coach and you're making the biggest decisions for the team, it's daunting, and especially at this level, which is the highest level. Everybody's watching you.
And everything and every decision is magnified at this level.
What you're eating for breakfast is scrutinized. I mean, what you said at a timeout. Like Mazzulla threw the clipboard. That was a big deal. Shoot, coaches throw clipboards all the time, but now every little thing is magnified by 1,000. How did you look when that player came out of the game? Why did you look like that? The player said this under his breath. Why didn't you address that? All those questions are being thrown at you left and right.
Yeah, and hey, and we got a ton of questions. I see them, and we're going to get to all of them. Steve Schroeder's got a bunch of stuff for us. Chris has some more stuff for us. We'll get to all of them. In fact, one comment Chris has: Jimmy Butler unstoppable or Nikola Jokic? Who has been more impressive?
I mean, they're both unstoppable. I mean, Jamal Murray's unstoppable. I mean, Tatum's unstoppable. It's just it becomes a team effort and some kind of strategies. Like there's a couple series where some teams double team Butler, and that played effect. Remember when the Lakers in game number 2 figured it out? They're going to put Hachimura on Joker, right? And he's going to physically. Remember, that was like, oh, we figured it out. We're going to go and figure it out. Wrong. I mean, it's an effective tactic every once in a while. But, the truth is, Chris, in the NBA, almost every offensive player in the NBA is unstoppable one-on-one. Offense always has an advantage over the defense. But, I'm partial. I mean, Jimmy Butler's a great player, great scorer, tough son of a gun, competitive. But overall, to me, 45 points and 25 rebounds, whatever the Joker threw up that one game, that he's been a little more impressive to me, maybe.
Hey, Mo, David Finkel wants to know: Do you think Mazzulla's in out of his depth, over his head? And I know you don't really. You know how hard what he's trying to do is.
Very difficult, but the answer to that question is yes. The answer to that question is, Dave, yes. Yeah, he is. I mean, he's a young coach. He's done a great job in a tough situation. Just think how he got the job. It was
Yeah.
tough. Udoka messed up. They let him go. He left, and he had to come in like training camp. And he's done a great job. They've been one of the best teams in the league for the whole season and the playoffs, by the way. And now, he's come into a different water. These waters are different depth, right, than what he's been swimming in. And there's different sharks in these waters. And it's no put down at all. He's 34 years old, stepped into a tough situation, done a great job, and maybe in a little bit over his head in the finals. And it's shame on some of his veteran players to not support him more and step up and contribute like they should, and take some of the blame like they should. But it's a different animal, and it's whether he loses his job because of this, it's going to be 50-50 shot. What I'm thinking, but does he deserve to lose his job? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that was interesting because I sent you a text last night during the game. I'm like, no, is this on Missoula? And you texted back, what about the guys out there playing?
Yeah, I mean, but the bottom line is it doesn't matter. I mean, I always tell you, in the NBA level, just look. I'm telling you, when things struggle, assistant coaches go first, head coaches go second, general managers go third, and then players go fourth. That's it. That doesn't matter. It's like when American or players go overseas, more so back in the day, and they go play overseas and they get paid more than players, and they're expected to not only perform out of their minds, but also win. And it doesn't matter if you go to Italy and they're paying you big money and you score 50 points a game and get 25 rebounds a game and your team loses, you are fired and they send you home. It's your fault. That's exactly how it is. And that's how it is in the NBA with the coaching circle. Just look who got let go this year.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, players you got to step up, man. I mean, Tatum for one, but
Brown has been the big disappointment to me.
It's been terrible, and you know how frustrated he is. I'm gonna put on my mask. I'm gonna take off my mask. I'm gonna put back on my mask. I'm gonna take it back off again. That's desperation right there. That's desperation.
Hey Mo, did you have any problem with Grant Williams getting in Jimmy Butler's face in game 2 of that series, and then Butler went off down the stretch? I mean, Williams actually played well coming in off the bench, but Butler took over down the stretch.
Yeah, what? Don't poke the bear, man. I mean, didn't anybody learn that? These young players, I mean, and whether he was wrong or right, I think it's not his position. You know whose position it is? It's Tatum, Brown, or Marcus Smart. That's who it is. Not you. Not you. That's just that's the hierarchy there. And, I don't understand why, someone would do that to agitate. You agitate when you're trying to change things up. And, if a guy's struggling, everything's good. When he's going good, that's when you agitate. When your team's going well, you just let everything ride. But when your team is struggling, that's when you agitate. So
we just saw that in the last series with Dylan Brooks.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I tell you all the time there's certain guys I played in the league that I could mess around with. Talk to them a little bit, mess around with them, give them a little elbow, and it would affect their games. And there's other guys you didn't want any part of that. Artis Gilmore, no thank you. Daryl Dawkins, no thank you. How's your family? Everything good? That's good, big fella. I mean, that's how you play the game. And some of these younger players don't know how to play the game. It's not only a physical game; it's a mental game. That's the way it is.
Mo, you never told Kareem, oh man, that old skyhook you got is just a brick you throwing up there.
No, but I did body him out and work on him a little bit. He did punch me in the back one time, and no foul was called. But you just gotta. players today don't understand the art of the game, and they think trash talking is no. Trash talking is effective at the right time against the right person, not all the time.
Yeah, you gotta know it. You know what? We got so many questions and comments, and again, we'll get to all of them. We're gonna get to this the Lakers and Nuggets series too, but I think this is the most important question we'll get tonight, though, Mo. Rickey Hampton, are your lines going to sweep Paul Mokeski records again? Steve, hell yes.
No way. No way. I don't care.
Aaron Rodgers is gone, baby.
Yeah, thank goodness, because he didn't play good against the Lions. So we got whoever the quarterback is, I have no idea. He's going to do better than Aaron Rodgers against the Lions. Because Aaron Rodgers, let's put that out there. Aaron Rodgers was as scared of the Lions. He was.
Any more thoughts with the Eastern Conference before we move over to the West, Mo?
What's that?
Any more thoughts on the Celtics Heat series before we move to the West?
Well, I would just hope, and I mean, you can see, right? Everyone from Magic Johnson to whoever has commented about how embarrassed they did. They gave up. They lost by 26, but that was almost a 40-point game. They gave up in Game 3. They just gave up. And for a franchise like the Boston Celtics, it's embarrassing. Even Magic Johnson said that. I would wonder what Bird would say about that game. I remember when they lost to the Lakers in the playoffs, and Bird was so upset, and he said it to the media. We played like a bunch of, I can't say the word, babies, weaklings, whatever. He said the real word, though, and we better man up or this series is over. And guess what happened? The next game, that was when McHale clotheslined Rambis, and it was on, and the Celtics won that series. So I can imagine what Larry Bird is talking about, Game 3, how they gave up and folded 10. I would hope, to all hopes, that, and if I was in the locker room as a player especially, I would say, listen, I don't care if we go down, I don't care what happens, but damn it, we're going to play our asses off. We're going to give it our all. Whatever happens, happens. Hopefully we can get back to Boston. But one thing that's not going to happen is we're not going to lay down and play like a bunch of babies. That's what's not going to happen. And if you don't want to play like that, tell us now in the locker room and sit your ass down and don't get on the floor. That's exactly what I would say.
I like that, Mo. Hey, Davis asking, would Bird's trash talking go over today? I think yes, because who's going to stop him?
Yeah, I mean, Larry could trash talk and back it up. I mean, everybody talks about the benefits. Nobody, people can't stop the Joker. You think they could stop Larry Bird? Get out of here. Come on, man. And he would talk, but Larry would talk at the right time to the right people. And, don't make guys like that mad. But, yeah, I hope the Celtics respond like that. However, looking at it right now, I don't believe they do. I believe they fight for a while, for about a half, and then if 3/4 is not going their way. All this, listen, they're all getting crap. They're all the coaches' jobs on the line. All this stuff is happening. At some point, when things aren't going your way, sometimes players just full tent and say, okay, where are we going? Where are we going on vacation? I'm gonna get back to my family, and we tried, too bad. I hope that doesn't happen, but I'm kind of thinking that's the mindset the Celtics are in right now.
Yeah. Steve Sher said, Ken Benson, when you talk about Kareem giving you a little punch in the back there,
You picked the wrong guy at the wrong time. Hello.
Hey, now let's go west, and the Lakers are down 3-0, but at least they have. You can't say they hadn't quit. They're getting beat by a better team.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw Game 2, I think the Lakers thought, rightfully so, they could have got game 1 or game 2, and then things would be different, right? And I saw the energy, especially in game 2. I was watching with my sons, and we all looked at it and said they look tired, they look worn out, they can hardly breathe. It's the altitude, but they gave game 2 all their heart, and I think they left it out on the court, and then they came up short. So when you give it your all, and you have another game 2 days from now against the same team, and you expend all that energy, and then you don't win, it's going to affect you in the next game, both physically and emotionally. And I think the Lakers had a chance to win game 2. It changes the whole series, but they didn't, and they expended a lot in Denver trying to get one of those games. And then they came home, and it was kind of a letdown. And then, it snowballed on them, and they just couldn't get game 3. And now I think here's the two differences. I think Boston gets swept. I think they lose in Miami. I think the Lakers win this game tonight and go back to Denver, and then they're going to give it all again. And who knows? Maybe they get lucky, but probably a gentleman's sweep.
Yeah. LeBron is tired just shooting jumpers.
I mean, he's settled. Everybody. I mean, he's shooting those threes partly because he's tired, I think, but he's settling. Here's the thing, so like when I was with the Milwaukee Bucks, we beat the pants off the Chicago Bulls, even with Michael Jordan. We killed them every time. And Michael Jordan was a superstar. Michael Jordan played great. But until Michael Jordan started trusting his teammates, we could kill him. But once he started trusting his teammates, he got a little better teammates, but he started trusting them, then they became the champions they were. And to me, if LeBron is so tired that he can't drive the basketball, instead of pulling up for a jump shot, how about posting up AD? How about giving it Reeves to drive? How about letting somebody else step up for a couple of possessions so you don't have to bring the ball down the floor and get even more tired and then bring the ball down the floor and shoot a 30-footer? Makes no sense to me. So, the great player LeBron is, and the high basketball IQ he has had, he's fallen right into the hands of losing this series, losing the game. Don't think the Denver coaches and scouting staff are going, yes, please make a couple threes and keep shooting them, because every time he drives, it's a layup and a foul or both. I mean, that.
Or when he posts up, he creates.
If I'm Denver and I'm guarding LeBron, I'm backing off him and begging him to shoot. You don't want to shoot that. That's out of your range. You can't shoot this far out.
Hey Mo, but if he going forward, it sounds like he wants to play a few more years because he's trying to play with his son. Wouldn't he? I could see him being a 20.8, 9 assist guy a game, but I only see that if he goes and becomes much more of a low post player.
Yeah, I agree with you somewhat, but disagree with you with the numbers. I think he'll become a 20-point a game guy and an 8 or 9 rebound a game guy and a 4 or 5 assist guy, because you can't get assists and you're in a post out, and they won't double team him either. So you have to change your game like Michael Jordan did. At the end of Michael Jordan's career, he was a post up guy in the triangle. That's what he turned into. Kobe Bryant was the same way, right? Yeah. When he got older, and LeBron has the body. LeBron is 6'9", 270, 80, whatever. If you look, when he's standing next to the Joker, he's not that much smaller than the Joker. Yeah. You look at him when they stand next to each other.
And so I notice it when he stands next to Anthony Davis. I mean,
Anthony Davis is a 4 at the best. So, and LeBron playing the 5 is way better than Anthony Davis trying to play the 5. But, LeBron is the size of a lot of 5s in the league. So, okay, so he has to leave his ego up and not dribble the ball down the floor all the time. You know who else has to learn that more? Giannis. Giannis thinks he has to dribble coast to coast all the time. Why? You can pick your times to do that. You know who was great at that? Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley could get a rebound anytime he wanted, dribble all the way down the court like a freaking freight train, and dunk it or lay it in every time if he wanted. and he did it 5-8 times a game when he had to, because he knows he's going to run out of gas, and there's better ways to do it. So unless LeBron, decides to do that, he wants to be the point center or whatever he is, that's going to be trouble, for his career moving forward. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's all top 10 in the forever, whatever. I don't think he's a GOAT by any means. But if he wants to play and be effective in the last part of his career, he's going to need to do that, or he's just going to be an old man. You see him in pickup games, right, down at the Y, trying to over dribble, gets the ball stripped, maybe trips over his own feet, looks like a goober, and people laugh at him.
I'm one of them old men that does just that. Fortunately, I'm out there with a bunch of old men, so it doesn't look quite as bad.
Pass the ball, Ricky. Pass the ball.
Chris, you're right on point about Bruce Brown. Former Piston, just hard-nosed, scrappy guy, has really improved on his shot mode, and he's a very unselfish player. He plays winning basketball. Talk about his impact on the Nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, he fits right in, right? You have to have pieces that fit. You have to have pieces that fit, and Bruce Brown fits all the pieces, right? He can score, he can defend, he's strong, he's tough, and it doesn't look like he's looking to just do. Here's what I tell players all the time: do things you can do. Don't do things you can't do, because then you're going to show the scouts or the other teams that things you can't do. Show things that you can do effectively, and that's what he does. And
that's exactly what he did, Mo.
He's averaging 14 points a game, 5 rebounds, a couple assists, and doing it effortlessly, so he doesn't get in the way of Murray or the Joker or Aaron Gordon or any of those guys. But they have guys, who's also finally turned on his switch? Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. is now rebounding the ball. He's now passing the ball. I think he had 6 assists last game. And, his scoring's down a little bit, but who cares? And then they got Aaron Gordon who's doing that. Old man Jeff Green is stepping up and playing that role. Caldwell Pope is playing that role. So that's what makes Denver so dangerous now, because of those guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. And Mo, I really don't think the Lakers have played that bad. Their effort has been far better than Boston's. They just aren't. I mean, sometimes you just aren't good enough.
Yeah, I mean, they made great moves to get their team better. AD is playing what AD does. He's averaging 29, 14, and 3. LeBron is down a little bit, averaging 24, 9, and 10 assists. Reeves is stepping up, averaging 23 points a game. Hachimura is a good fit at 17. Walker, the 4th, is playing okay. Schroeder is struggling offensively, but he's guarding the tougher guy. He's on Jamal Murray the whole time, hounding him. Schroeder makes bad decisions at the end of games. I'd rather have the ball in Austin Reeves' hands for sure. So that needs to be done more. But here's the guy that's really let down the Lakers, in my opinion, D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah.
They made that trade. And I think D'Angelo Russell at one point was a 20-point game guy, 8 assists. Yeah. And he comes to the Lakers and he's averaging 7 points, 2 rebounds, and 4. He's let the Lakers. He was the piece to that big trade that I thought would really take them over the hump. I mean, they got Schroeder, they got Vanderbilt, they got Hachimura, defensive guys. And then I thought D'Angelo Russell was the guy that's going to levitate that team. And he just hasn't. He's hurt the team when he's on the floor. I mean, he's shot bad. He's made bad decisions. He's just, he's not doing what he should do. What's up, Spence?
Yeah, I agree with that, Mo. And Marcus is Bishop Marshall. What's up, Big Mo?
All my guys, Vegas, Bakersfield, Sacramento, all that.
Yes, sir. Um,
Throw
I
some
guess,
questions out there, guys.
yeah, we got some. I'm trying to, and this is kind of getting to the coaching situation. Chris is talking about Doc Rivers gone. I like him. I mean, we all know Doc is a good coach, but Mo's been saying this for as long as we've been doing the show. When it comes to these coaches and former coaches of the year, what happens?
You know, it's interesting. Like Doc Rivers, is a great, I think a great coach. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the top 10 winningest coaches in basketball. And when you look at, so all these jobs that have coaching openings, right? You got the Pistons, you got the Bucks, you got the Philly, you got Phoenix Suns, you got Toronto, and you see all these names of, shifting. Mike Budenhauser's out there, Nick Nurse is out there, Monty Williams is out there, all these former coaches that are being talked to, and I don't see Doc Rivers on anybody's list. That's mind-boggling to me. Now, Washington's out there also, but I think Doc Rivers is going to get paid $16 million over the next 2 years. By the way, so he might have had his agent put out the word that unless you're willing to pay a big money and a long contract, don't even bother because I'm going to collect my money and do TV maybe. So that might be one of the reasons that Doc's not out here interviewing, or it might be that he is and we just don't know it yet.
Hey Mo, do you think different coaches fit different teams better depending on where they are? Like here in Detroit, we got a young team with some nice young talent. In Milwaukee, you have a championship caliber team. Uh, are different guys better for different situations?
Absolutely, for sure. And there's let's talk about Detroit as a nice young nucleus, right? So there's two feelings on that, right? We need a younger coach that can plug in with these younger players and talk to them, relate to them, and be that way. That's all well and good. However, if they're not knowledgeable and don't have experience, then you have players that don't have experience and a coach that doesn't have experience. Now you got a problem, right? So you got some workout guy or whatever players love, and okay, but he's not X and O's guy. We just talked about moving over that one seat. So but you have a leniency. You could get a younger coach that maybe hasn't won a championship but has been in the playoffs before. Kind of that. But if you're talking about the Milwaukee Bucks, you can't come in there with some young guy that's never been there. But all the players have been there. So you got to have somebody that has respect of the players, is knowledgeable and they know it, can hold the players accountable. And there's coaches that like to coach young guys, and there's coaches that like to coach veteran guys. So that's part of the interview process, that all these coaches are going through. Some over and over, like Nick Nurse and Monty Williams and Budenhauser, those guys, and then some of the young is thrown out there. Sam Cassell's name has been thrown out there, but they're going through the same process, and then it's up to the team, the general manager and the owner and all their people to say, well, this guy fits what we need. Because there is a fit. And if you go into the Detroit Pistons and get some old guy like me that's kind of crusty and old school and might hold them too accountable because they're little babies and they're little young guys, that's not going to fit. So you got to find the perfect fit. And that's what these interviews are apart. All these coaches that I'm talking about, their reputation, their experience is all out there. Every team knows who they are. But now you got to get in-depth conversations and interesting questions when you get them in your house and your interviews. And I've talked to Jack Sikma, I've talked to Chris Finch, I've talked to other guys that have been in that interview process, and they've told me that X's and O's are a big part, but not as big as you think. Your staff you're bringing on is big, and your personality and how you answer certain questions is huge. I can't think of any of those specific questions. So, what if you're on a long road trip and your players are complaining, and you got an extra day in Miami? Do you give them a day off, or do you get in the gym, or do you watch film? What do you do? Those kind of questions.
But man, I guess I would be the old crusty guy because I think of a guy like Nate McMillan, who when he took over in Atlanta, they were nowhere close to the playoffs. They ended up making a run in the playoffs. Then this year he comes in. Nate is old school, and then he tells a guy you can't play because you didn't practice, you didn't come to shoot around, which is a team rule, and then gets fired. I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, well, let's take it. I'm gonna sit down with Trae Young, right? I'll say, listen, you can't play tonight. I don't have it's not my rule. I want you to play tonight. It's not my rule. It's a team rule. Not my rule. I'm sorry. It still gets fired.
Yeah.
Do I have to tell you what the hierarchy is again? I can write it.
No, I know.
Assistant coaches get fired, then head coaches, then general managers, and players.
Speaking of coaches, that David Finkel says the Celtics problem is Udoka's fault.
No, it's not. I mean, his problem is his problem. He did something silly. He got let go or suspended. He didn't even get fired, by the way. He got suspended. But he's going to land another job here. But did it have an impact? Yes, you're right, David. It did have an impact because they had to switch in the middle of the season. Udoka had been there before with this group. I think if Udoka, okay, it's not Udoka's fault, but if Udoka was there, I think they'd be winning this series and have a chance at the championship. So there's kind of an answer to that question. But, you can also say, Draymond Green's punch, Poole, it was his fault that the Warriors lost in the playoffs. No, it wasn't his fault, but it did contribute to their demise in the end.
Yeah, and he brings up Steve Nash in Brooklyn, and
Well, see, I told you that at the beginning. That's a bad job. That's a bad. No one's there. Who's there? KD's not there. Kyrie's not there. Harden's not there. It's like,
But before he even coached one game, Kyrie was saying we don't even need a coach.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Steve, I know Steve well. Great player, really knowledgeable basketball guy. But that's a guy that, he went in a situation that was kind of a no-win. Unless they went and made a deep run, it's a no-win. They didn't win a series, I don't think. When those magnificent, how are we going to beat those guys? Those three great players, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but they didn't fit together. And, some of them were knuckleheads and some wanted out and they all bailed on you anyway. So Steve got out with nice contracts and good money, and he'll be fine. But, that's all different situations in the NBA, what you get yourself into.
Mo, the Bucks situation. That's your old squad. Chris Middleton opts out, wants 4 years, $271 million. Nobody's gonna pay him that now.
Nope. No.
I mean, you can want it. That doesn't mean.
James Harden wants $200 million too. But I mean, it would be a shame if Middleton left that group because they have a great core. I don't know what went wrong, but they have a great group that can go ahead and come back. The Warriors did it right. The Warriors won a championship with KD and then were horrible, and then came back and won another one 2 or 3 years later. Can't remember which, but I would caution him. And I'll tell you right here. The big problem with the Milwaukee Bucks is they have one of the greatest players in the league. That's one of the least skilled MVPs ever in NBA history, Giannis. I mean, if you look at his strengths and his weaknesses, plays hard, competitive, rebounds, athletic, love him, love his heart, love his team, how he does his teamwork. But let's be truthful, right? So he's a bad three-point shooter. He's a he's a bad free throw shooter. He's a bad three-point shooter. He's a bad passer, and he has no mid-range game, no pull-up game. And you're the MVP. So for the Milwaukee Bucks, in my opinion, to make the next step, it depends on Giannis, how he wants to work on his game in the offseason and get better at all four of those spots.
Well, he said he's coming. He said,
Yeah, what does that mean? Yeah, you know what? You want Giannis? Listen to me. You should be coming to Vegas to work with me for a month. That's what you should be coming to do. And I can help you in those areas. But you got to be able, you have to accept the work. And if he would do that, just think, if he get to be a 65, 70% free throw shooter, if he could get to take less threes and make 37% of them, and if he could limit 1 or 2 turnovers a game because he's not out of control driving, and if he could become a good mid-range shooter, what would happen then? Oh my God.
and he has the talent to do all those things.
Be what?
And you think he has the talent to do all of those?
Absolutely, no question. It takes humility. It takes a lot of work. And it takes, you got to get your ego aside and say, I need help. I mean, what kind of player would Shaquille O'Neal be? How many more points a game would he average if he would have ate his pride and learned how to shoot free throws, even though it may be underhanded and it didn't look cool, but you average 4 or 5 more points a game? I mean, that's part of the reason. That's part of the thing he has to do. I mean, let's face it, Steve. What did he miss? 12 free throws in the last game? 12, 14 missed free throws?
Is that mechanics or mentality?
It's both. It's both. He needs to scrape. He took too much time. All the teams are counting. If you need to, like a golf swing, Ricky, if you struggle with your golf swing, you don't want to make it longer. You want to make it shorter. You want to tighten it up. Same with a free throw. If you're a below average free throw shooter, you don't want to take more time shooting free throws. You want to simplify your routine and take less time shooting free throws and make it simple. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, release. That's it. That's all you got to think about. That's 3 seconds.
You know who made himself a good free throw shooter and was not good when he came in the league? Was Karl Malone.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. But you have to have a willingness to do that. I don't know what coach the Bucks are looking at. I mean, I heard the same old Nick Nurse and all those, but that's going to be interesting because if you take that job, you better get to the finals next year.
David Finkel, I have a question. What the hell do these guys do with all that money?
David, I have no idea, man. If I knew, I'd tell you. I wish I had it so I could tell you what they do with it. But I didn't make that money. More power to them. I believe they're giving them the money to young players too soon before they're established, and I think it causes problems. Some guys put it away; they're set for life. So are their families, their kids. I'm talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. Some players blow it, and some players, come out okay. So, that's just like what do human beings do with all that money?
Hey, Morris.
Wait, before we move on, read about lottery winners, people that win 10, 20, 30, $100 million. Some do really good, and some fall apart. Same for a basketball player.
Hey, Mo, as a former player, because the guys that played years before you looked at the money you guys made and said, hey, that's pretty good. Do you guys look at the guys now and say, hey, are you glad to see that?
Yeah, to some point. I mean, more power to them. I mean, guess what? You know what you're worth? What someone will pay you. That's what you're worth. They're not worth all that money. Well, if someone pays it to you, that's what you're worth. You're worth what people pay you.
That is absolutely true.
And, people get mad at sports, athletes. Look at TV personalities, look at movie stars, look at musicians. They all make outrageous money. And should teachers and doctors and some doctors police, all those people make money, absolutely. But you get paid what you're worth, and more power to them. But you're right. I mean, when I came in the league, the best players in the league when I came in were making $500,000 a year. That's the best players. It's Dr. J. That's Larry Bird. That's all those guys. They were making 500 grand. That's not even minimum now. That's about half of minimum now. And then Magic Johnson signed $1 million a year contract. I think his third year, and that was like crazy. $1 million a year? Are you crazy? More power to him. But now players are making 40, getting ready to make 50 million a year, right?
Yeah. On the PGA Tour, John Rahm broke Tiger's single season money record, and we're in May.
Yeah.
That's just the money that they're paying now, on the tour. And this is a good question. Hachimura has really played well in LA, but he struggled in Washington. Why does that happen, Mo, guys? Because it drives fans crazy to see a guy leave your town, go somewhere else, and play well. Just like, we knew Bruce Brown was a good player. We didn't realize he was this kind of player, but of course he's playing on a much better team now. But why does a guy like Hachimura kind of just blossom when he leaves one franchise to another?
Just like we said, just like I said, certain coaches fit in better with certain teams. Same thing with players. Players fit in with certain teams better than other teams, and their role is different. Their situation is different. Their minutes are different, and they find their niche. And sometimes it happens right off the bat. Look at Jamal Murray or the Joker, or guys like that. Sometimes it takes time. It's fitting in, and maybe they're given an opportunity they weren't given. Maybe they felt different. Maybe the coach is different and give them more freedom. Or in their head, at least they think that. So it's all about situations that you get in and how you take advantage of them. And we're not, I played for 12 years. I think I was traded 3 times or twice or 3, I can't remember. But every time, I was traded my second year in the league. I played for the Rockets the first year, and the second year I was traded one day before the training camp was done to the Detroit Pistons. And I was upset. Because I thought I was going to be Moses Malone's backup and all that. And I was really upset. And Rudy Tomjanovich and Calvin Murphy, 2 older players, they saw that I was upset. And they said, listen, Mo, you got to take that. One team doesn't want you, but the other team really wants you. And your situation's going to be better there because they really, really want you. And that's how you got to take it. So, sometimes players, can see different things. And sometimes players take it personal. And I'm going to show you what you're missing. Whatever motivates you.
Yeah. Your thoughts on the Knicks next season, Mo?
Well, I think if they get Damian Lillard, I think. I mean, they went to the second round, which is more than people thought. They got to make a couple moves. They're not deep enough. Brunson has become a superstar in the league, no doubt. Randall is a solid player. They need a couple more big-time players that can step up for them to make another move and go deeper in the playoffs. So the offseason is going to be important to them. Don't know their salary cap situation, don't know their roster that deep, but I would know if I'm sitting there. I said, we got Randall, Brunson, a couple other really good pieces, but we need to add 2 more really good pieces if we're going to make a run to the East Finals next year.
Hey, what are you going to be looking for tonight's Lakers Nuggets game?
The Lakers are up 20-15 right now, so I'm watching a little bit of the game, and we got a problem. LeBron just hit a 3, so that's bad news for the Lakers. I think it's going to be more. I think the Lakers are going to do what they've been doing. They've just come up short. They need to attack the rim. LeBron needs to attack the rim. But it's going to be a lot on Denver, right? How bad does Denver want to end this thing right now? Or in the back of their minds, are they thinking, you know what, we lose this game, we just get on a plane and we'll go back to Denver and we'll win that game. And that's the danger zone because as we know, no teams come up, down, up, no team has won a series down 0-3, but never say never. And momentum in series shift really, really fast, and you just don't want to mess with that.
And as you always say, you don't want to play any more games than you have to.
No, because you're looking at Miami probably resting, right? If Boston folds again tomorrow, home resting, and you want to end your series, because if you can end it today, or they're probably starting the series on Thursday or Friday next week, whatever happens, unless it gets crazy. So you want to end it as soon as you can, because the more games you play, the more fatigue you get, and also the more chance of injury you have. Someone steps on an ankle, someone does something, some fluke thing, and you don't want that to happen. So, but I could see, Boston, calling it quits, and I could see Lakers trying to get to Game 5.
Okay. Well, we're going to get out of here. Hey, enjoy the game, everybody. Thank you so much for all your questions and comments. We'll be back next Monday. Keep your eye out for some We Got Net Plus tidbits as they drop. But and don't forget, believe.com, BLEAD.com. We're going to get out of here for Coach Mo.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
See you later, Mo. Talk to you.
All right, man.